Wrdw64.com.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Well, more than a dozen rabid raccoons have been spotted in our area. Just ahead, we'll have everything that you need to know.
But first, coming off a cooler weekend, things are starting to heat back up just a bit in a traditional southern fashion, even though it's now fall. We're not quite in sweater weather territory. I mean, we go back and forth for a while.
Yeah, but we were close this morning, I feel like. And over the weekend, too, it was a little bit cooler for us. We weren't sweating when we were going outside. That's a start.
Yeah, and it's not super humid. So I think that's what makes it feel better, too.
Absolutely. We had some mornings in the 50s this weekend, so that's relatively cool, at least for this time of year. So we've had some beautiful starts to the day, and last couple of days have been a little bit warm in the afternoon. We're seeing highs in the upper 80s today. This is a live look from our Thurman Dam cam. You can see plenty of sunshine out there. Beautiful weather for most of us. It is still low humidity across the area. We have light southwest wind, but temperatures not too far away from 90 for many spots. So we're up to 87 right now at Bushfield, 89 in Evans, Thompson, you're at 88. Same thing in Sparta, Sandersville, Wrightsville. Everyone's pretty warm out there. It's all thanks to abundant sunshine across the CS array. You can see that there is a good bit of clouds across the region, so that will actually start building in later tonight and early tomorrow, but no rain on our first alert radar network. Hanging on to dry weather for the rest of this evening and tonight. If you are heading out this evening, temps will stay in the 80s the next couple of hours, but once we get past sunset, should quickly drop into the 70s. We'll see the 60s as we get towards midnight, and then overnight tonight, it looks like our low temps should stay low 60s for most locations. So we'll be a little bit warmer heading into tonight, just thanks to more clouds building in by tomorrow morning. High temps going to stay just a little bit above average for us here in Augusta for tomorrow afternoon, and we will see more clouds, potentially some rain heading our way as well. Well, more on that in the full forecast. But let's get a quick update on your first alert traffic.
And now, first alert traffic.
All right, folks, let's take a look outside of our building here. So this is I-20 and Riverwatch Parkway. We're not really seeing too many traffic issues out there at the moment. Looking at blue skies overhead and just a nice picture. Now, looking over the medical district, we got a zoomed-in view of Piedmont Hospital. Obviously can't see too much traffic there, but we'll have an update on the potential for some rain later in the week in just a little bit. All right, thanks, Riley. Take a look at this. This is a map showing where rabid raccoon sightings have been in our area of Georgia so far this year. During the warmer months, experts say that's when more rabid animals encounters happen.
Our Taylor Martin is in our newsroom, and Taylor, with this most recent sighting, the number of rabid raccoons is now up to 13.
The Department of Natural Resources says during the spring and summer months, they get call after call about rabid raccoons. Over the past couple of months, more than a dozen rabid animals have been found all over the CSRA. The most recent incident happened just 5 days ago on Yelton Farm Road in Appling, where a dog fought the rabid raccoon. The raccoon was picked up by the Columbia County Animal Services and tested positive for rabies. I spoke with wildlife biologist Lee Taylor with the Department of Natural Resources, who says these incidents seem to rise during the spring and summer months, which is why we see them one after the other.
They generally tend to increase around anytime somebody has a positive case of rabies in a raccoon. We have more reports of them and stuff like that.
Most of the cases in our area have been in the Columbia and McDuffie County area.
Thank you, Taylor. There's a couple of things to keep in mind when it comes to rabies. If you ever come into contact with an animal who you believe has rabies, do not try to touch or interact with it in any way. Rabies is transmitted through saliva, so if an animal bites or even scratches you, you need to get medical help right away. Call your local animal control and report any suspicious animals. Rabies can easily be prevented with a vaccine for your pets, but it is deadly when left untreated.
3 teens are dead after a shooting in Columbia. Yesterday, the Richland County Sheriff's Office says 4 people were shot in a neighborhood. The victims, 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old. A 14-year-old was also shot but is expected to be okay. Deputies say the shooting happened over a years-long argument between the teens and the suspect, a 17-year-old now charged with 3 counts of murder. The high school where all 3 of the teens killed went, saying a crisis team with students to is with students today as they grieve the loss of their friends.
In the last couple of hours, former President Donald Trump spoke at an event in Summerville, South Carolina. Now, this is his first campaign stop in the Low Country since announcing his run for president. He addressed a sold-out crowd, including Governor Henry McMaster and the Lieutenant Governor. During his more than 40-minute address, Trump promised to continue his work supporting South Carolina's boat manufacturers if he is reelected.
Every single major boat manufacturer in this state expanded their operations during the Trump administration. There wasn't one that went down even a little bit. They all went big. They went very big. They couldn't make them fast enough. When I left office, business was roaring like a 400 horsepower Mercury outboard motor. I just looked at them. They are seriously good looking. But then the economy slammed into a pile of rocks known as Crooked Joe Biden.
Trump is far from the only Republican candidate voters are considering. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott have the home advantage on the ballot. The Republican presidential primary election is scheduled for February 24th. At the same time today, attorneys for former president in Denver, Colorado, presenting their argument before a judge. They say an attempt to bar him from the ballot in 2024 under a rarely used insurrection clause of the Constitution should be dismissed as a violation of his freedom of speech.
3 mothers are leading the charge to introduce a child luring law in South Carolina after an incident involving 2 young children in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. The mothers of 2 children say that they were fishing in a local park when an older man kept approaching them and trying to get the kids to go with him. The kids say they knew something about the situation was wrong and got their parents, who were horrified to learn that luring or soliciting children is not illegal. In South Carolina, it's only a crime when a child is kidnapped and physically taken to another place. Now, these mothers are advocating for a child luring law so that police can intervene before a child is hurt. One was introduced 5 years ago in 2018, but never went anywhere.
I posted about it on social media to raise awareness and just educate people on how necessary this legislation is. We can't be silent any longer. We've waited 5 years. To me, that's a real story that our legislators have had 5 years to get this very necessary nonpartisan bill passed.
Since the man talking to the children was not breaking any laws, he was not arrested, but Mount Pleasant police are posting warnings about the incident. Right now, a proposed child luring law is waiting for consideration in the next session. Students and faculty at the Art Institute of Atlanta getting quite the shock. Late last week, it was announced the nearly 75-year-old school is shutting its doors for good this Friday. The institute is blaming tough conditions from the pandemic, but some students from before the pandemic say the school was already showing signs of struggling. Current students and faculty at the institute's 8 locations across the U.S. left scrambling to figure out what to do next. Here in Augusta, Helms College is one of many colleges helping students at the Art Institute in the wake of this announcement.
A community standing behind one family and their new tradition to turn their home into a destination. Just ahead, why everyone is getting heated up over inflatable dinosaurs. Riley?
Well, we are looking at temperatures that stay warm again Tuesday, but cooling off the rest of the week and bringing back a slight chance for some rain. We'll have an update on the full forecast next.
Someone who stares death in the face and never wavers for his community is sharing his story about how death came knocking on his door. Coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're talking with Richmond County Coroner Mark Bowen on how he beat stage 4 cancer, rarely missing a day of work.
Time and temp. Brought
Welcome back, folks. Here's a live look down the Savannah River. A beautiful afternoon to be outside. Temperatures have warmed up a little bit. We got some gorgeous conditions out there this past weekend, but temperatures have started to tick up a little bit. 87 degrees out there currently at Bushfield. We got a good steady southwest wind, just keeping that warmer air in place for us. If you're heading out this evening, temperatures will stay in the 80s at least through around 6, 7 o'clock. Once we get past sunset, we'll quickly fall into the 70s. Overnight tonight, we are expecting our low temps to most likely stay in the 60s. degrees tonight. So unfortunately not as cool as the 50s like we've seen the last few mornings out there. For Tuesday, we're looking at beautiful weather all day long. We'll see building clouds throughout the afternoon, so ending the day kind of cloudy. And despite the clouds, we'll still be able to see our temps most likely get close to 90 again. So mid to upper 80s out there Tuesday afternoon. Cannot rule out a stray shower Tuesday, and that's really going to be the forecast for the next couple of days. I cannot rule out a shower, but I also cannot guarantee a shower either. Just a very low rain chance with a few hit and miss nuisance showers out there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Looking at our two global models, both of them are showing generally less than 1/10 of an inch of rain across most spots in the CS array. So we're starting to see better model agreements. It's at least letting us know that both of them kind of agree on our potential setup, and our setup is going to be conducive to maybe some rain, just not a ton of rain from what we're looking at. Here's our setup. So we got a stalled front over the region today. That's going to be trying to work its way further south as we do see high pressure north of us, bring us a wedge type event. So northeast wind building throughout the day Tuesday into Wednesday. That's where our cloud cover is going to start building, and just with this type setup, cannot rule out a few sprinkles out there. It looks like the majority of that rain will stay closer to the front, mainly south of the CS array as we head towards the middle of the week, but just can't rule out some showers out there for us. As far as temperatures go, it's going to stay pretty warm again Tuesday, but Wednesday all the way into the weekend, those high temperatures do drop back down below average for us. So just a brief warm-up in store for the next 24, 48 hours. Remember, just cannot rule out a stray shower between Tuesday and Thursday. Mostly dry, though, looking ahead to the weekend with comfortable temps waking up near 60 and highs in the 80s.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. A pandemic tradition growing into a debate on neighborhood codes and what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do in your own yard.
Yeah, in an Atlanta neighborhood called Dunwoody, one family has put up inflatable dinosaurs in their yard as a way to cheer up kids, playing on the name of their neighborhood, calling it Dino Woody.
But complaints to code enforcement, it's threatening to bring all of this to an end. Asha Wilson shows us how more and more people are now standing behind this family.
We already had a lot of these dinosaurs from previous years.
Lisa Torres has been spreading joy with different dinosaurs in her yard since COVID. She even wears it loud and proudly.
I went and I got 6.
But on August 31st, the city says they received a complaint about the inflatables, giving Torres a notice saying they violate Dunwoody's sign code in September.
It was an overreach because this has only been a positive.
They originally gave her until September 20th to comply, but it was pushed back to October 20th as city leaders asked staff to review the sign code and consider possible modifications.
We were ready to make peace for it, but the community stood up for us.
Now 17 dinosaurs standing tall in her yard.
It's so cool, right?
It's a destination. And right now in this world, we need good things.
It made Chip bring his 2-year-old grandson, an entire family, to see it.
This is meaningful for this entire community. The goodness it spreads, the joy.
Others are backing Torres too. We saw at least 5 homes with dinosaurs in their yards, including Vi Clyde, who says she never puts anything up for display.
If you're going to do that, then you've got to stop every single blow up from Christmas through Labor Day in the neighborhood.
At a council meeting, the mayor stated she's thrilled to see this level of community engagement and working on a solution.
Seeing Dunwoody stand up, raise their voice, and more importantly, the city listening is really refreshing.
This is one of the biggest, I guess, the opposite of get off my lawn. Let me leave this on my lawn.
That's ridiculous.
One person complained.
And
One
now
person.
it's ruined it for everyone. Now everyone's chipping in, though. That's good to see,
Right.
though.
It's kind of like a dino explosion. And of course, with Halloween season on its way, there's hope that Dino Woody can continue for a while longer. I mean, you've seen it kind of take on a new life in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we need to find a new name for it, though. That's the only thing I gotta say.
That's hilarious. It's funny.
It is funny. I just think it's ridiculous that you can't have all those inflatables on your yard for Halloween, but yet I go through my neighborhood and everyone's got them and no one complains. That's just ridiculous.
Somebody just said, this is why we can't have nice things, people.
Exactly. Well, billions of lawsuit settlement dollars are being paid out by the opioid industry, coming up why advocates say more needs to be done to include the public on how to spend it.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Lexus, Acura, Cadillac.
Hurt in an accident or
faster. Call George St. Gentry Lawyers at all nines now.
Life-changing associates right now.
Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
Over $50 billion. That's how much the prescription opioid industry has agreed to pay state and local governments. That's for settling numerous lawsuits in the wake of the overdose epidemic.
But as our national investigative team and KFF Health News found, it's not always clear how that money will be used. Here's Carice Jackman with Payback.
Everywhere you turn in Jacqueline Lewis's home, you'll spot pictures of her son, Sean.
He loved taking care of his family, and he had a heart for people that were broken because he felt broken.
Broken because for 20 years, Sean battled substance abuse.
I just watched him every day get up and fight to live. He was fighting just to live.
For 2 decades, Sean battled addiction, but that ended in October 2022 when he died of an overdose. At the time, his daughter, Ava, just 7 years old.
I have to watch her on days where she's curled up in a fetal position, crying, wailing, because she wants her daddy and he's not here.
After losing her son, Jacqueline is now raising her granddaughter. An overdose also took Ava's mother's life. 2 parents' deaths impacting the life of this little girl. Sean's substance abuse centered around opioids, the class of powerful pain-reducing drugs responsible for the majority of overdoses, sometimes prescribed by doctors, but often bought and sold illegally on the streets or online. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 500,000 people have died of drug overdoses involving opioids since 2010. Sean was originally prescribed an opioid for scoliosis pain.
Middle school, the doctors started prescribing him pain medications. We didn't know they were addictive at that time.
Stories like his have fueled thousands of lawsuits against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. So far, those lawsuits have resulted in industry changes and more than $50 billion in settlement dollars that will go to state and local governments across the country. But after that, exactly where that money is going can be difficult to pin down. Governments can offer greater transparency, but our partners at KFF Health News and an attorney at opioidsettlementtracker.com found few efforts to do so. According to their analysis, only around 1/3 of states have promised the public detailed reporting of where millions of dollars are going.
From a public health standpoint, community members should be educated about what's being done with the settlement monies before they roll out.
Diana Fishbein is a professor and researcher at the University of North Carolina. She and other experts say one of the best investments communities can make with the settlement money is in youth prevention, starting early and addressing the root causes of addiction, such as trauma, food insecurity, or lack of access to health care.
Historically, it's been dramatically underfunded and underappreciated, and that contrasts with the data that's been amassed in prevention showing how potent it can be.
It's her favorite shirt he wore.
Back in Ohio, Jacqueline says she worries the money won't be as productive as it could be, and she's been pushing for caregivers like herself to have a voice. But Ohio is one of the states that has been criticized for not including the public in the conversation.
My concern is that none of this money is going to go help impacted families.
Carice Jackman on your side.
So far, governments have received around $3 billion of the more than $50 billion in settlement dollars that will be paid out by opioid manufacturers, distributors, and retailers over the next 15 years. Benburg County is one of 5 school districts in South Carolina taking part in nearly $10 million in grant program money to improve the lives of students with disabilities. The U.S. Department of Education announcing earlier this month the money will go towards postgraduate career opportunities. This includes both state agencies and local nonprofits, with the goal of creating more opportunities for those with disabilities to get jobs. This will happen over the next 5 years as part of a pilot program. Riley?
Well, we have been mostly dry over the last week or so, bringing back just a slight chance for a few showers Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have another full look at that 7-day forecast just after the break. Touchdown! Welcome back. A live look over the Savannah River, 13th Street Bridge. A beautiful afternoon to take a walk down the Greenway Trail or on the other side of the Canal Trail. We're looking at gorgeous weather out there today. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s for most spots, and we'll stay in the 80s the next couple of hours. Looking like low temps tonight, we'll stay in the 60s for most locations. We're mostly sunny at the moment, but we are going to see more clouds start to build in by early tomorrow morning. Temperatures anywhere from around 62 to 64 degrees to wake up to early Tuesday. More clouds will build in Tuesday afternoon, but despite the clouds, we should still be able to see our high temps back a couple degrees above average, at least into the mid to upper 80s. Cannot rule out a stray shower tomorrow afternoon. Doesn't look to be a huge risk for most spots, but just not ruling out a couple raindrops. That will continue Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, just a few isolated showers. Wednesday is when it does start cooling off for us. We're expecting those high temps to be closer to 80 by Wednesday afternoon, and just keeping that low chance for a few hit and miss showers Wednesday and Thursday. But overall, Tuesday is going to be the warmest day for the rest of the week. We're looking at high temps back below average and a little bit cooler mornings near 60.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.
On air and online.
It's grand opening celebration for Interiors Market, the newest concept store by Weinberger's Furniture. Right now, save $250 off any purchase over $9.99. Save on everything in store and save on anything you customize to order. This coupon is on top of our already discounted furniture, mattresses, and accessories. Don't miss the celebration and deals.
Come see what's new.
Interiors Market, right across the street from Weinberger's Furniture.
The icon